Are you starting to think seriously about retirement? Well, you're not alone. Many Australians are reaching a point in their lives where they're thinking about what life after working might look like. And it comes with some big questions. Do I have enough money? What are the choices I really have? And how do I make sure that my retirement years are secure and fulfilling? Retirement planning can feel overwhelming, but the good news is that expert advice can make all the difference. Today, we're talking about preparing for retirement, why planning early matters, the common pitfalls people face, and how the right strategies can give you a world of options. That's this episode of Money and a Good Life. My name's Stephanie Coombs. Ryan Watson is here with me. He's the bloke who knows all about the money. Don't you, Ryan?
I'll try to, Steph. Thanks for being here.
And today we're joined by Rob Devlin. He's the head of advice and a partner at Tribeca. Rob's all about Tribeca's good life approach to financial planning. He's passionate about people being confident with their retirement decisions and making sure they can truly enjoy the next stage of their lives. Rob, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks, Steph. Great to be here.
Now, I think it's fair to say that retirement planning is pretty daunting for most people, and I'm sure that you've dealt with a lot of very anxious people in your time. What are some of the biggest concerns you hear from clients who are approaching this stage of their life?
Yeah, great question. The most common one is how long will my money last? That's kind of the 9 out of 10 people ask that one. How does superannuation work? What are the tax implications? How does age pension work? How do they all intertwine? So they're kind of the key ones, but everyone has some kind of anxiety or questions they want to know before we kick into it.
What about the perceived finality of even the word retirement, Rob?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's as much psychological as it is about the money, and we help people work through that. So it's very uncommon these days to see someone have a hard stop, if you like, on their working life. It's much more likely that they'll go and do something part-time or some consulting work or go and work in Bunnings on a couple of days a week. We get that quite a lot. So
how good would Bunnings be a couple of days a week? I can see the appeal in that.
Yeah. I would love to know what they put in the water there because everyone is in such a good mood.
With the idea of anxieties around retirement, do you feel like sometimes the anxiety stops people from even having the conversation?
Completely. It's the unknown, right? It's comfortable. I've been working 30, 40 years maybe. I know how that works. I know when my paycheck comes in. It's that unknown. When will I get paid? Is it monthly? Is it fortnightly? How long will it last? So it's a lot about just the unknown. I think it's also about what does my partner want? What kind of retirement are they looking for? It's surprising how few people have had that conversation and therefore they don't know what their expectations are. Are we going to be going to Europe every year? Are we going to be joining a new golf club, or are we, doing some volunteer work? So it's as much about that as it is about the dollars and cents.
And fair to say as well, in your role, Rob, it's about helping people work through. People have a lot of identity in their job, right? It's defined them for 25, 30, 35 years and not losing it, but redefining who they are and what's important to them.
Yeah, finding new purpose. We work with people who specifically help people through that transition psychologically, find new hobbies, find new things to do, because that's a huge part of it. Yeah, absolutely.
The anxieties about how long will the money last? I mean, that's the biggest one, because it's not just thinking about what am I going to get year to year. It's also having to sort of make a projection on how much longer you're on the planet, which is a pretty heavy topic when you think about it. Have you found that people's concern about how much they have or how long it will last, do you find that it's warranted?
Perception is reality, right? So if people are thinking about that, then it is warranted. But what they need from our experience is someone to facilitate that conversation and start to put those anxieties and worries at ease one by one. Now, we're not there just to say, yes, you can live on $200,000 a year or something silly, but we want to help them make those decisions knowing things like there could be some age pension at some point in time. You're going to do some casual work, so that's going to supplement you a little bit. You'll stop paying tax. You don't have a mortgage. Your kids have, left home, hopefully. So there's
hopefully.
Even things like...
If we're talking about baby boomers, probably not actually.
Exactly. Even your rate of expenditure post-75, people do slow down in life, say that respectfully, and they stop spending as much. So that can be factored in the projections as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's not to just say to everyone, you can go and live however you want, but most people completely underestimate their abilities, and we can start to put that at ease and really help them unravel what they do want to do in retirement and take some of that worry away.
Well, when you say they underestimate, are we talking about they underestimate how much money they're going to have, or they underestimate what they plan to do?
Both. I think firstly, having that discussion about what we want to do is so crucial. That's where we start every meeting from. We don't start with how much you've got and how long that's going to last. We start how you want to live, who you want to live with, where you want to live. Are you going to do a downsize or a right size at some point to try and get both parties on the same page? Because that's a really important part of this process and often the hardest part of the process.
Because as we know, opposites attract, right?
Correct.
So partnered couple over a long duration, generally found their groove. A good advisor with their EQ can help them get on the same page.
Yeah. And then starting to line that up with the dollars and cents. So then working through, okay, you're going to work a little bit casually. You're eligible for some age pension in 10 years' time. You might be doing a downsize in 5 years' time. So when you start to put all those things on the table, people start to really see what this can look like.
And what are the common sort of retirement goals that people have? Like, I think that when most people think about retirement, it's just, it kind of begins and ends with, I'm not working.
Yeah.
And then you can expand on that. Where do people sort of end up usually?
The most common one I get is I want to live the way I'm living now, but I'm going to stop earning money. So I want to be confident that I can keep doing that, right? They want to go out to dinner with friends. They want to help their children out when they can. They want to go on some holidays. Yes, they might have a bit more time, so they might want to go on longer holidays or they might want to take up new hobbies. But for the large part, people just want to keep living the lifestyle they're living. But obviously there's a big transition from earning that money to spending the money.
Yeah. And as a rule, Rob, do we have any clients who are retired who are bored? They always seem to have a lot of things going on in their life.
Yeah.
They even have more things going on.
Oh, I'm racking my brain to think, but I don't think so. I've got a client who was a midwife for 40 years and retiring was a huge psychological change for her. She was worried about being bored and she was worried about what she would do. Every meeting we have, she is honestly the busiest person I know now. She volunteers at 3 or 4 places. She drives her nieces and nephews around all the time. She's playing sports, doing lots of things in her local community, and she's working more than she ever did, and she's loving it.
I want to be retired.
Sounds pretty fun, right?
Yeah. It sounds like I've got a while to go there. Can you think of any clients who have gone through this process of talking about what they want or what they can afford and have had a big sort of mindset shift on what's possible?
Absolutely. What I will say is it usually doesn't happen overnight. So most of the time we get clients in, they're leading up to retirement. We help them prepare for that. And then the moment comes 2 or 3 years down the track, we make that transition. The first year or two of retirement is always this, you're shifting and moving a lot. You're working out how you're going to spend your time, how much money you're going to need, what you enjoy doing with your time. Often that means separately because you've never been together so much and you take up your own hobbies.
Well, even that's a great point, right? So if they are a partnered couple, Rob, they haven't been home so much and cohabitated. And what is, during the day, and what does that look like as well?
Correct. So it's this transition of I'm in it now. I'm figuring out what I like doing. I know roughly what that's going to cost me on a weekly basis. So during the first 2 years of retirement, I would say we adjust, the settings, if you like, 3 or 4 times for most people. So I've got clients who I've been working with now for about 4 years. They came into me completely underestimating their abilities to retire just in general. We showed them and we guided them through that path about retiring. So they made that decision to stop working. They were very conservative on what they wanted to spend, even though we'd showed them quite a number of projections. And every time we've had a meeting, they've gone, "Oh, Rob, can we bump that up a little bit? The monthly pension income, can we put it up $500?" Yes, of course you can. This is, we're comfortable with that. And every meeting we've had, they've done that, and they've taken up new hobbies, new holidays, given some money to their children. So it's really nice to see.
Oh, that's lovely. Like, what are hobbies that people take up in retirement? What have you heard?
Languages is a big one.
Really?
A lot of people take up learning a language. I think it's a time thing. Volunteer work is pretty common. Grandchildren is a big hobby, if you like.
Golf.
Yeah, hobby,
Golf.
obligation.
Now I know that's
to my heart. Golf is a good one.
Even musical instruments.
Musical instruments, yeah. We've had a lot. And I mean, for some people, hobbies can be things like sitting on a few boards, and it's still paid work, and learning how to do that really well, going and refining some of your skills that you learned throughout your career and taking that and passing that legacy on, if you like, to other people.
For some clients as well, Rob, taking more of an active stance in their local community, even if they've got elderly neighbours and things like just helping people in their street.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this idea that, your life stops at retirement is just because I understand why you would reach that conclusion, right? Because all you know is your working life, and then work takes up 5 out of 7 days for, most people, if not longer. And to have that suddenly taken away, it's like, what do you do? But life does find a way to sort of expand and fill and become more meaningful.
One of the things I love about our job is our ability to see how so many people do it. It's great for your relativity. I'm a long way from retirement, but looking at some of my clients, I'm very jealous. I live vicariously through many of them. Lots of them send me photos when they're on holidays or how their grandkids are going. We share photos at every meeting. I'm jealous. I'm not going to wish the years away. But
what about Rob, how Warwick, one of our senior advisors, positions that like a 25-year holiday to get it into the mindset?
Yeah. I think it's a great way of looking at it. So he says 25-year holiday, this is what we're going to do. We're going to work out how you're going to spend that time. We'll look after we'll make sure the money's going to last and your goals are reasonable and there's some buffers built in there, but you go and do what you want to do and enjoy it.
And he spends a bit of his time genuinely, Steph, encouraging his clients to spend more. Not so there's nothing at the end, so there's still a legacy piece, but he really encourages them they can, and he shows them how.
The amount of conversations we have with clients about spending more versus spending less would be 20 to 1.
Okay. So spend more.
Spend more. Yeah, absolutely. So we show people, 20, 30-year projections. You're going to have more than enough money into your 90s. Live and enjoy your life now and go for it. It's very rare that we're telling someone, on your current trajectory, you're going to run out of money in your late 70s or early 80s. It's incredibly rare.
I wonder where that mindset has come from. Is it just because the baby boomers are just facing this amazing sort of wealth and, property and they're having maybe a life they didn't see their parents have?
Yeah, I think it's that. And I think there's usually one person in a couple who's like that.
Yeah.
So often we're a great facilitator for that discussion and trying to find that middle ground for those people. So often it can be the men in a lot of cases. It's very conservative in your estimates, how you want to live. And then we try and open that conversation up.
And generally, Steph, if you look at 2 other key elements in retirement, or maybe this is more for you, Rob, generally no mortgage and largely no tax to pay. So if you take out principal and interest payments and the fact you're not paying tax, there's the ability to spend more.
This is also the first generation who sort of come through and have had, for most of their working life, superannuation.
Spot on.
Whereas we've got, their parents, when retirement came through, I think that it was, for a lot of people, we had this idea of people living off the age pension, and it wasn't a great final end for a lot of older generations. Like the retirement years were really tough.
Superannuation's been around since about 1992, largely as a concept, right?
Yeah, for the majority of the population, early 90s. So it's a huge asset, even if you don't really put any time or effort into it these days. If you're starting out in the workforce in the 2000s, you're going to have a really nice nest egg of funds there available for your retirement. So,
and people underestimate what that's done. So I mean, I think,
and we're on this journey with Steph to get Steph to love superannuation as well.
Oh
aren't we,
my God,
Steph?
I'm so bored with superannuation. Oh God, yeah, I like it when. When I can access it. Yeah, exactly. Okay. But right now, it's so boring.
Think about the tax you don't have to pay when it goes in.
Oh, nothing makes me happier than thinking about tax. I'd rather watch paint dry.
Yes,
my gosh, you guys are a different species sometimes.
But we'll persist.
Yeah.
We will persist.
I think the idea of enjoying your life is really important and spending the money when you've got it. And I think that having the confidence to know that you can spend the money is important as well. Absolutely. And one thing we do see with the baby boomers, if you like, is they've got a strong desire to pass on some of that wealth to their children. They may have felt that happened to them as well. But these days, most of them own a property that's worth considerable money as it is. So our job is to find that balance of, yes, that's important to you and we absolutely want to facilitate that. But there's a house here unencumbered. There's no debt against it.
can we use this pool of funds for you to enjoy your life, which I'm sure your kids will appreciate you doing that. And then there's also the house for the children later on.
And even, Rob, back to that legacy conversation, it's no longer just when people pass away. There's this living legacy element, right? So people get to enjoy the fruits and pass on generations whilst they're still alive.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the one we enjoy, because talking about what's in your will is not very exciting, but talking about, okay, my son's getting married. I want to pay for the band for the wedding. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be I'm going to go and buy them a house. That's pretty unreasonable for most people. But how can I, do little things? And if we can open up people's minds and imagination to what's possible, they can do more of that.
One that we like, so personally, our daughter's grandparents, they like paying for, if there's just a little piece on the rowing, or it's a school excursion, or maybe a uniform or something like that. It's more than a token, but it's also not thousands of dollars. It's really important. It helps them make them feel included as well.
Absolutely.
If someone's coming to you and they're a little bit anxious about where their retirement is going to go, what are usually some indicators that they're in a better situation than perhaps they realise?
Yeah, good question. I think no debt is a really big one. If we've got someone coming in, late 50s, early 60s, no debt, that's usually a sign that they're going to have a lot of options, because paying off the mortgage in a lump sum or continuing to pay it in retirement is not there. If they've had superannuation for a considerable period of time, that's always a good sign. The people that we often see maybe where this isn't a factor is small business owners. They put their heart and soul into their small businesses. They don't pay themselves superannuation because they're growing the business or paying employees. So then with them, you need to work with what is the small business asset? How can we make that work for you? Because often that's really valuable as well. And I guess a good handle on your current circumstances is usually a good sign that the people are engaged with their money at the very least. So, yeah.
Do people come to you not engaged with their money?
All the time. One of the most important parts about how long your money is going to last is how much are you going to spend. So we ask our clients, how much do you think you're spending right now? And I would say 8 out of 10 wouldn't know, or wouldn't know within $2,000 a month how much they're spending. So our job is to obviously work that out with them, and it doesn't have to be filling out a boring budget, but it can just be a good estimate. And then working with them on what that looks like in retirement. Do we need to push that up a little bit? Or are the kids, moving out of house so we can push it down a little bit, et cetera, et cetera. So most people have a rough idea on what they've got in superannuation. They don't know how age pension can work in conjunction with that, whether it be now or later on. They don't know about the lack of tax, I guess, when you're in retirement. So there's a few areas that we can really help them look at.
When is a good time to start thinking about retirement? When should you start being aware of what's happening or where your money's going?
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, that's sooner rather than later. But I think in a practical world, if you're in your 50s, I think it's a really good time to start thinking about what you want retirement to look like, what age that might start to either scale back work or finish work. But I would say now is better than later. So if you're 59 and you haven't had that conversation, you haven't really planned out your retirement, that's fine. There's still plenty of time to do something about that.
And how often do you hear Rob say the 59-year-old comes in and goes, I wish I had done this sooner, to which we generally respond, well, at least you're not 69. And then Steph, if it was a 69-year-old person, it's the same, not 7. There's always time to do something. The best time was yesterday. Next best time is today.
And it doesn't actually need to be. If you're in your 60s or your 70s and you're still working, it doesn't need to be this huge 10-year saga. You can sort this stuff out.
100%. And even when you're in it, when you're doing it, it's not like we're sitting down every week to plan out a retirement. It's a couple of good conversations in those really important years. That's really it. It's not intimidating. It's a few hours once or twice a year, and that will be enough to set you up really well.
The one thing I would say, Steph, we're talking retirement, particularly with regards to superannuation, the earlier that people can take an interest, the greater effect it'll have on their final retirement balance. We've talked about it before, lowering of fees, strong returns, the impost potentially of insurance premiums. It's like a golf shot, right? The better you hit, the sweeter you hit it, the straighter it goes. But if you're a little bit off centre over the longer time or the distance, you're going to be further away from what you think. So I would encourage people, if there's even younger people listening, please take an interest in superannuation. It is your money and it can have great effect over 20, 30, 40 years.
There's a new sort of movement that's coming through the world, which is it's called the FIRE movement. It's the financially independent, retire early. People who are trying to find their way in the world very quickly, make a lot of money, and then just get out of the workforce. Do you encounter that at all?
Yeah, from time to time we do, for sure. Really ambitious, young, entrepreneurial types come in. It's definitely a different conversation because obviously superannuation is not accessible until you're 60. So that's one part of the equation, but you've got to start thinking about other strategies, how you're going to fund that lifestyle gap from whenever that is until at least 60. So it's really interesting when people do that. I don't think I've encountered anyone who's literally stopped working and properly retired, say in their 40s or 30s, because I don't know what you would do.
Whatever you want, I suppose, if you had enough money.
They generally what happens is they go to the next level. Okay, well, I want, a beach house, so I'll go and do something else. I want to start a new business because I get a lot of purpose and meaning out of that. But it's great to have ambition, and whatever that means for you is absolutely fine.
Yeah, I think the idea of leaving the work grind, as I think it's been defined for so many years, is an appealing prospect. I think, especially considering it's getting harder to sort of, run your life with cost of living or whatever. And I think people are trying to find other ways to step out of that. It's an interesting movement, but I think it does take a lot of very hard work in order to sort of make that happen.
A goal we get a lot is we talk long-term, medium-term, short-term. Where do you want to be? What do you want to be doing? Something we hear a lot is, I think I'll still be working, but I don't want to be working for the money. So I get enjoyment out of my work. It may not be what I'm doing currently. I will be working, but I don't want to factor it in from an income point of view.
This is why, Rob, I love the term financial retirement. And we discussed it before, Steph, but financial retirement, you have the options. So what do you want to do? Do you want to continue to do what you're doing, maybe scale it down a little bit or choose something completely different? Financial retirement as a mindset means a world of possibility. I really like that because it's nowhere near as finite as a whole retirement piece.
If someone's getting close to having the retirement conversation and they've been putting it off, I think that one of the worst things I think that could happen is, you're sick of working and you go into a meeting with you, Rob, and then you tell them you could have retired 4 years ago.
Yeah.
You've been putting this off, you've been delaying everything, but you could actually be off at a beach right now having a great time.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, we've definitely had people who've come in and they're not enjoying their work and we show them what's possible. You don't want to go out in a blaze of glory, so you do want to do it in a...
Oh, I don't know. Blaze of glory is so appealing. I've never done a blaze of glory exit to anything.
Never?
Never.
Even a casual job?
No. Have you?
Really? Yeah, I reckon I have. Casual job.
Well, yeah, what, Macca's?
Through the apron or something.
Actually, yeah.
What'd you do?
Didn't like the manager. Oh, it wasn't terrible. He just said he might suspend me for behaviour. I said, I don't need your job. I've already got another one, so thanks very much.
That's so good. Yeah, stick it to McDonald's. Stick it to the man.
Well, at that time you want to go where they serve alcohol so you can get paid more, right? So I already had my next plan.
Yeah, of course.
Job,
he's always on to the next move.
That's it.
Okay, so no blaze of glory, but you can get people out of work sooner than perhaps they sometimes thought.
Absolutely. We get emails all the time post meetings saying, thank you, that's taken a weight off my shoulders, or that's given us something to really go home and have a good think about. So it's a lot about getting that conversation to the surface, showing them what's possible and then letting them go away and make those decisions. Generally, they'll come back and say, yeah, great, we made the decision to finish up later this year.
And if we take just a small segment, a small amount of time, Rob, just to be somewhat self-indulgent, for a financial advisor, is that not the best appointment you can have, the one where you can tell people that they can financially retire, you see their shoulders go down, and it is a world of opportunity, right? The best appointment if you're an advisor. Yeah,
by far the most meaningful things we can do in work. Yeah.
And it's also just a sign that sometimes you put stuff off because of this lingering anxiety. And, whether it's taxes or paying a bill or whatever, you just sort of push it aside. And the second you've done it, you feel good.
Well, and I think in equal parts, probably, Steph, it's as much about the quant as it is that qualitative, as we discussed earlier, right? Work defines you. It's what you know, the income and the like. It's psychologically wrapping your head around that as much as how am I going to be able to afford to do it as well.
For the people who have retired, what are some of the biggest challenges that you see them facing, especially in those early years when they've just made that transition?
Yeah, it's how I'm spending my time. It's teaching them that, superannuation is still a volatile investment and it's going to go up, it's going to have good years, it's going to have bad years. people tend to start watching their superannuation a lot more closely when they retire. So there's a lot of coaching in that and explaining to them, yes, there'll be years where it goes down. There'll be more years where it goes up, basically. This is a long story. We get people in the first year looking at it every week. By year 3, they come to the meeting, they go, where's my super at, Rob? I haven't seen it for a year's time.
We've still got 1 or 2 clients who look at it weekly.
Still got a couple, yeah.
Outliers.
Yeah, that's on me, not coaching well enough. But it's a big transition, right? It's something that, you don't look at your super balance very often at all. But if you were using it to live on, pay for your coffee, you might look at it more regularly. But it's understanding how that works in a rhythm and over time and what we're talking about in long-term projections.
Just settling into a new way of life.
Completely. It's an entirely new way of life. It's what am I getting out of bed for this morning? People tend to figure that out pretty quickly, is my experience. So it's not as daunting as it sounds. People fill their lives up with really meaningful, purposeful activities, and they absolutely love it. It might take 6 or 12 months, but yeah, as I said, I'm jealous of most of my clients and how they live their days.
And it doesn't mean the end of work either, because like you said, whether it's, taking the casual job at a local warehouse or whatever, like you can still find work. It's just that you don't have to do it as much and as hard as you're probably working right now.
We've got a client that he's retired, but he chooses to work for Australia Post just as a delivery person between post offices.
Great.
He enjoys the engagement, the interaction.
Yeah.
About 5 hours a day. Loves it.
Yeah.
Does it by choice.
Family friend of ours just drives the booze bus from the RSL.
Oh, yeah.
Great job.
Oh, you mean not the police booze
Yeah,
bus?
no, sorry, no, like
the courtesy bus.
Yeah, the courtesy bus. Sorry, I called it the booze
I
bus.
thought it was the chauffeur.
To the cell, sir. No, this is like you're picking up a bunch of people after they've had a few schooners and dropping them off, and I'm like, that is a great job because everybody will be a little bit jolly. You'd have good chats.
Yeah.
You're going from A to B. And it just fills the time. You get a bit of cash.
Well, I was going to say I couldn't help myself. I'd have a little tip jar as well.
Yeah.
Well, in this day and age, I'd need my own little swipe.
Yeah, exactly.
Little swipe facility.
My dad drives a school bus because my mum's still teaching a few days a week, so she gets school holidays. So he was looking for something to do while they could still take school holidays off together. So he drives a school bus a few days a week, and he loves it. He absolutely loves it.
Oh my! Like the school bus when I went to school was feral.
Yeah.
He must be dealing with a nicer school than my school.
This is up in the country. I'm sure you still get the odd.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but like I remember the school bus being
Shit
like,
show.
Show. Like kids.
Caused by Ryan Watson.
Exactly. It's like that. I can actually not think of a worse job than that in most of the world. Thank you so much, Rob. I think that there's a lot of information there. And if you are worried about retiring, maybe stress a little bit less and just get some good advice. And while we're talking about good advice, do give this podcast a follow. Thanks again to Rob for joining Ryan and myself, and we'll see you all again soon. Advice given in this podcast is general in nature and not intended to influence decisions about investing or financial products. Our listeners should always seek their own professional advice that considers their own personal circumstances before making any financial decisions.